Oh, the original Ocean City. Oh, I got you. Yeah. Well, it's got to be better than the remake. All right, I'm gonna stop talking to you, Pyro, because we're gonna record the podcast now. Feel free to comment and say sarcastic things, but I will not be responding.
Same goes for my chat. You can comment and discuss amongst yourselves. I will not be responding till the end of the.
Exactly.
I will ban though if things get out of hand.
Yeah, let's ban them. All right.
Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 16 of Not the Worst Podcast. My name is JD, and I'm joined here by Anthony, and we are going to be talking to you about some gaming stuff. Isn't that right?
Yes, super excited. Also so excited.
You sound so excited.
I'm tired, dude. It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. It's been a crazy week. So let's see. What do we got for the intro? Any little tidbits, any pieces of info people need to know about? I have a shirtless child walking through my camera, so I got that going for me, which is nice.
Okay.
Good times. All right. Good thing this is audio mostly in some parts of the world. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess we'll just jump right into the first topic. We're going to, man, you can't be here. Come on. You got to go sit on the couch or something. I'm recording. Perfect. Fantastic. Great recording. Thanks so much for that.
That will be edited out before it goes on YouTube.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So Cyberpunk 2077 is the newest game from CD Projekt Red, the makers of the Witcher series. They've delayed it a few times because of the COVID-19 epidemic. But on June 25th, they had a gameplay reveal. And so I watched it. I think Anthony watched it, or at least part of it, or at least he's going to lie and say he did.
I've watched part of it. I have not watched all of it.
Yeah, you're such a liar. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about Cyberpunk 2077 and what we saw in the gameplay reveal, which was pretty highly anticipated, I feel like, because people are waiting for this game. The Witcher 3 was just a massive, rolling, amazing success of a game, and people are kind of have high expectations for the next project, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. So Cyberpunk 2077 is completely different, though, right? If you've played any of the Witcher games, you know it's a fantasy game. Takes place, it's kind of swords and magic and creatures like that. Whereas Cyberpunk 2077, obviously from the name, takes place in a dystopian future where it's cyberpunky and neon lights and guns and probably some swords too because it's cyberpunk. But it's very dystopian, very science fiction, and from what I can tell, very dark. It definitely has a lot of darker themes like drugs and sexual stuff and things like that. So, but one of the things we saw in the reveal is that there's going to be a lot of driving, which is interesting because that's kind of new for CD Projekt Red. They had horses in The Witcher, but I don't think that's the same thing as driving, right?
Nothing. No,
there's
none.
Yeah, because there's different aspects to driving.
No.
Not only do you have like the vehicle that you have to drive, you also have different types of cars. So who knows if they're going to have cars that you can hijack, a la Grand Theft Auto, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff there. The other thing that were you gonna say something?
I was just say on the driving, the cars don't even look that ridiculous either. They actually look pretty cool. They're not like so out there that they just don't fit. They actually look like they fit in the world. I'm watching the gameplay right now as you talk. So
good job, buddy. Way to prepare for the podcast. Got it. You nailed it. You're watching it as we go. So CD Projekt Red making Cyberpunk 2077. They said that there's going to have sorry, got a bug in my throat there, probably from the rum chata. They said that they're creating 1,000 NPCs with handmade routines. Basically, they're talking about that, their NPCs aren't going to be following like set scripts the way that you might see in like an Elder Scrolls game. But I don't know. Elder Scrolls has a lot of NPCs too, so I don't know if 1,000 is a lot, to be honest with you.
No.
The other thing, so I have no idea what the reference is for that. But it does sound good. Sounds like they're putting a lot of effort into the NPCs to make them have different behaviors and stuff. So that's great. The other thing that they announced with the gameplay reveal is that they're actually making a anime series with Netflix called oh, well, it's made by Studio Trigger, and I think it might just be called Cyberpunk 2077. But it's going to be an anime series based in that universe, based on that game, which is really cool.
Oh, so
That's not going to go ahead.
Netflix didn't even give them time to get the game out, and they are jumping on a Netflix series with that.
I mean, it's such a anticipated game, and remember a few podcasts ago we were talking about how CD Projekt Red, it's like the second biggest company in Europe or whatever. So
Yeah, and
big
it actually
companies, big money. Yeah.
Didn't it surpass Ubisoft for a bit?
Yeah, it was past Ubisoft, but I don't know if it still is. I'd be surprised if it was. But
Yeah,
it did pass Ubisoft. So that anime series is going to be coming out in 2022. So it's actually a little bit off. You're going to be playing the game long before that series comes out. So you'll know based on whether or not you like the game, whether or not you're going to like the anime series. But I
I'm a little
imagine you will like
disappointed
both.
that I'm a little disappointed it's not coming out in 2077 though. So
Well, we'll all be dead, probably. I think you have a lot of expectations that humanity will survive.
that long.
Based on 2020, we are heading down a spiral, flushing toilet into the bottom of the universe. That's
Yep.
what I seem to see. Anyway, so we're gonna get an anime series in 2022. We're getting the video game this September, and it looks great. Like
It
visually,
does.
Night City, like their neon aesthetic or whatever, it looks amazing. And I hope that all the stuff we see, like all the buildings and the streets and the backgrounds and stuff, I hope it's all just fully explorable. I think that'll be
That would be
cool.
cool.
I don't think we've had a great cyberpunk open world game before. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I can't even think of a cyberpunk game. Period.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've had sci-fi stuff, and we've gotten pretty close with like Star Wars and things like that.
Yeah.
Like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff was pretty open world in a lot of ways, but nothing as like this is a full complete city. Like this is Grand Theft Auto Cyberpunk edition, and I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to have some really awesome stuff. So looking forward to that.
And
Anything you want to talk about with it?
I know a lot of people are upset with Cyberpunk and CD Projekt for constantly delaying the game, but honestly, you guys have heard me kind of briefly talk about this in past podcasts. One of my biggest criticisms of developers these days, and they're so adamant about rushing these games and these projects that they almost always release unfinished products or broken products, and sometimes they're so broken you can't even actually enjoy the game, to the point like you just put the game on the shelf and forget you have it because you can't deal with all the glitches and stuff. So I appreciate that CD Projekt's actually, I know a lot of people are frustrated, a lot of people are really looking for this game, and it keeps getting delayed. It kind of upsets people, but that should tell you they care so much about their product and their project that they actually want to make sure it's near flawless when it comes out and it meets all their expectations that they were planning for this game from the start. Big companies like EA and Activision and Infinity Ward and all that will just release game after game each year, and they said, oh, don't worry, next patch will fix it. Oh, don't worry, next patch will fix it. And sometimes the patch makes it worse. So I appreciate that CD Projekt is taking the time. Obviously they're getting close. They finally revealed gameplay. The video was titled 25 minutes of CD Projekt gameplay, the one I'm watching right now. So and we're getting closer. It says September, barring nothing else comes up and delays it, because I mean it is 2020 and seems like anything can happen. So I'm looking forward to the game. I think it'll be fun. Do we know if it's multiplayer or is it going to just be single player?
I doubt it. I'm assuming it's going to follow the Witcher path, which was mostly single player. So, one thing I was going to say about the delaying of the game, one thing that we don't really think about, like obviously the developers have to work from home because of the COVID stuff, and yeah, that might be delays. But you might be thinking like they're working on computers. It doesn't really matter where the computer is because you can do that from anywhere, right? But there's certain things about making a video game that you can't do unless you're in a studio or you're on your set, which includes voice acting, and motion capture. The motion
Yeah,
capture is huge. Like you just can't do that during the pandemic. So like I feel like their delays are perfectly justified because you just
yeah.
can't put all that stuff together. Something like
Now,
Smite kept releasing updates while it was out. And that's because Smite doesn't have any motion capture. It barely has voice acting. And, most of it's broken anyway. So it's easy to keep putting out updates during the pandemic. But this is a big game and there are
it
huge
is.
expectations. They can't half ass it.
I mean, like you said, they're trying to get every NPC to have its own hand created movements and
Right.
stuff.
That's
So
crazy.
it's like you said, it's not Smite where the minions have every minion you see is gonna do the same exact thing every time it spawns in, or like even in games like Elder Scrolls or Oblivion, that every NPC has like a pre-recorded motion, and that's all you're gonna see them do the entire time, and you'll see very duplicated characters out there, and they're actually taking the time to make each NPC their own person, essentially,
Yeah.
to a degree.
Yeah, and the game doesn't look when a game does that, when you could notice those patterns. See, the problem isn't that games have patterns. All games have patterns,
No,
right?
yeah,
Minecraft has patterns. You can log into a game of Minecraft and go, "There's a pattern. There's a pattern. There's a pattern." You see the
hmm,
pattern, even though it's procedurally generated or whatever. You know it's there, right? That's why you have an entire chest dedicated to cobblestone because it's the same stone over and over again, right? We get it. Every game has patterns, and especially the more open world it is, the more exploratory it is, the more patterns that have to exist because otherwise you'd be building it forever. Um, but the goal of making 1,000 NPCs is so that you don't notice the repeating patterns as much. And that's
hmm,
so hard to do. Like even Elder Scrolls, which is basically like the pinnacle of open world gaming.
hmm.
Maybe not for everybody, but I feel like
It's up there.
you know, yeah, it's up there. Like Skyrim, Oblivion, these games are legendary for their open world exploration. You can still see the patterns, right? Every dungeon is basically the same. You just kind of have to learn the different routes that they take. Things like that.
Mm.
Like if they can make this game and reduce those patterns so that you feel like you're in a lived in world and that the people in it are interacting with you for real, like that immersion is so important and it's so hard to get right. Witcher did
Yeah.
it really well. Witcher 3 was amazing at that. Like, you didn't really notice the patterns unless you played Gwent all the time. Then you
Mhm.
notice the patterns because everybody played Gwent the same way. Uh, but,
And
it
I
was really
guess
good.
that's another thing I give CD Project. Naughty Dog is known for its almost ultra realism in their animations and graphics, and CD Project is seeming they want their name to be known for individually handcrafted generated NPCs instead of a procedurally generated or scripted. Like NPCs are gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
Puppy just came in. That was not a
That's
ghost.
alright. I got kids in the background. You
Story.
got dogs in the background. We're living the life here. Hi,
Yeah,
doggy.
there he is. There's Maverick. But anyway, see, and I actually appreciate that. Some developers get so wrapped up, like they already did a teaser trailer for the new Battlefield, and
Yeah.
there was nothing to it, and they were just talking about how every year Battlefield does it better at making the game look beautiful and the graphics. Yeah, but the gameplay sucks.
Great.
So
Right. Yeah.
it's
Make
like a
it as
Michael
shiny
Bay.
and pretty as you want, but if it's boring, it's boring. So I don't know
It's
what to
like a
tell you.
Michael. Yeah, it's like a Michael Bay movie. Okay, it looks pretty because of all the explosions and
Yeah.
stuff, but holy crap, did the story suck? Transformers movies.
Yeah. Looking at you, Bumblebee. Um, yeah, exactly. And you need that substance. And these worlds, like, ah, man, I love an immersive RPG. Like, I love diving into an
Mhm.
RPG. And I'm really hoping we can just like, I'm hoping I can just like sink my brain into Cyberpunk and just kind of disappear for the hours that I'm playing it, and then like come out for air when I'm starting to drown. Like that's exactly what I want out of my RPG. So then then all the better for them. I think it's worth it,
Yeah.
definitely. And the gameplay trailer looks awesome. I think it's gonna be fun.
No, it was looking great, guy.
It's a lot darker than I thought it was. Like they were
Mhm.
showing, I guess, like one of the early missions or whatever, and it's all about drugs and like the criminal underworld, and there's
Mm.
neon hookers or whatever they are. I don't know what they are necessarily, but that's what it looks like. It's just kind of crazy all the stuff that they have in that world and how underhanded everything seems to be at the beginning, at least.
Yeah.
So interesting, very interesting.
No, it looks like a game I will enjoy. And there was some controversy when the game first started coming up or being talked about. I honestly don't care about it. I guess one of them is they brought, I can't remember her name. I think it was Anita Sarkeesian. They brought her on board to do something, and that made a lot of gamers upset. I know, I've heard the whole story behind her and everything that went on with gaming, but I'm not going to let that ruin a game. I'm going to let the game do its job. If it can't entertain me, then I'm going to hate the game because it can't entertain me. If it ends up being a garbage game, it's a garbage game. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't care much about the names of developers or writers on video games.
no.
They're not celebrities to me. They're workers. Like, get to work, crack the whip,
Hmm.
just do your job. I don't really care about their politics. I don't really care about like Gamergate kind of stuff. I just don't.
No, no, no.
Care.
Like
It's exhausting.
One guy I like to watch on YouTube a lot talks about how his video games are meant for him to get away from the real world, and if he gets wrapped up in all this, it just ruins that for him. He doesn't want to go to a video game. He goes to the video games to get away from things like politics. He doesn't want to go to video games and get wrapped up in politics. So I'm gonna let CD
Yeah, but
Projekt
it's
Red.
his choice to get wrapped up in the politics of it, right? Like,
No, I'm just saying.
like
I'm saying.
I'm saying like we both are gonna play the same game.
Yeah.
And the difference between me and him is I don't give a crap what the name of the writer on that game is. I
Yeah.
just want to play it. I just want to play it. But he cares, and he's choosing to care. If he
That's
saw
true.
that name and saw what she was involved in or whatever, and he just went, he might enjoy himself. That's all I'm saying.
The only time I will care about.
Just bury it. Just bury your head.
Bury it.
All the way down.
Okay.
That's my bury my head in the sand motion.
Okay.
This is American Sign Language. I'm pretty sure.
To bury your head and
Yeah.
okay. Okay. The only thing I was gonna say is the only time I would ever care about a writer or a developer of the game, if they have a pattern of making crappy games and they charge $60 every time they come out. Yeah, eventually I'll be like, yeah, I'm not. Oh, this person worked out. No.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I don't give a crap about the rumors of a new Fable game. Like, don't get me started on the crappy Fable series. How disappointing! The most disappointing series in the history of video games, maybe. Like it's like there's never was a game more hyped than those first Fable games because of that one dude. Whatever his name was, Peter Molyneux or whatever. It just hyped those games into oblivion, and then we played them and we're like, what is this? It's nothing like what you promised. So so exactly, I agree. I will pay attention to a name if they continuously make bad games, and I'll pay attention to a name if they continuously make good games. CD Projekt Red, for example, has never disappointed me, so I will pay attention to them.
EA continues to disappoint, so you usually play their games with
massive disappointment. Massive disappointment. EA, if you were my child, you wouldn't even be allowed to have a shirt. This one's choosing not to wear one. You would not be given one, sir.
No, I'm excited about Cyberpunk. Almost a CD Projekt Red, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
I'm excited about them too.
Yeah, me too. And I'm glad it's coming together, and it looks like the light at the end of the tunnel is coming through for them. So,
and there's good things about CD Projekt Red. For one thing, I really like that they are a microtransaction free company.
Yes, please.
They very, very much believe not having microtransactions, so you're not going to get screwed over in that. They have always been very upfront about their DRM, their digital rights management. They're the ones that run GOG.com, which doesn't have DRM at all. So they're very upfront about that compared to something like Steam, which is 100% DRM, right? Yeah. So they're very upfront about that. And, their DLC is usually pretty amazing. Like the Witcher 3 add-ons were awesome. Very good.
Heard they always added to the game and you're never disappointed whenever you downloaded it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they definitely add giant chunks of gameplay and they don't charge you like a hand and a foot. So so there's very good reasons to be excited about this game, even beyond just the gameplay itself.
The you mentioned what country is CD Projekt from again?
Poland.
Poland. I think Poland's one of the countries that actually don't allow microtransaction because they consider it a form of gambling. There's some European countries. I don't know Denmark was because they got a huge fight with EA over their the FIFA series because they were upset because it was gambling. Well, I think they're more about the randomized microtransactions where you buy a crate and you don't know what's gonna pop up, and
Right. The
yeah,
loot boxes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah.
there's a lot of company or a lot of countries that passed laws that said either if you were going to do loot boxes, you had to be public with like the
What's
odds
in
of
it?
getting things, right? With
Yeah.
what was in it and what was your odd of getting like the top prizes and stuff like that. And I know Hi-Rez hated that because their loot boxes were huge in Smite and they had to reveal that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, screw them.
Yep. I'm okay with that.
Yep. And yeah, you're right. I think um Poland might be one of those places. So that's great. I'm glad those people who care more about microtransactions than we do. Um
We're greedy
okay.
capitalist pigs, so
We are pigs and greedy.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Next one is
What was the next one? Why do I have
Crucible.
4 Cyberpunk 2077 links and like one of everything else?
Crucible's the next one.
Oh, Crucible. Man, let's talk about
I know.
Crucible.
I'm
I'm
actually
so
disappointed.
sad about that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed. Like that game was fun. I uh, I mean, I guess I can understand. I don't know. Like all
The
games are
concept.
repetitive of that nature. Like all of
Yeah.
those games are repetitive. And I understand that there was only like one map, but that's because it was like an early access game. I don't understand the
Hmm.
overreaction. Maybe they need more maps, maybe they need more
I
something.
mean,
Like they need the map to change more. I don't know.
they
I don't
were
know what
once
the
a
deal
week.
was.
Once a week, they had updates for it, and the things did change sometimes that you could notice, and sometimes they didn't. Um, I was understanding what Amazon was attempting with Crucible. I just
Mhm.
don't think the patience was there. We're in
Yeah.
a different generation of gamers now that they have a very clear expectation of their video games. If it doesn't meet it, they'll crucify the Crucible. So in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I didn't even say the news. In case you didn't know what
Yeah.
the news was, is that Crucible has announced that they're going back to closed beta, which originally they were open beta. If you played Crucible, you were playing on the open beta, which was available to everybody, and you could just download it and play it because it's a free to play game in the first place. Um, and now they're going closed beta. It's not going to change. If you already have the game, you'll still have access to it.
Mhm.
But future gamers, anybody that wants to play it new, are going to need an invite. So they're not adding a lot of new players, and they're not paying attention to the data regarding the player base. So if you stop playing it, they won't care. I guess the idea here is to go back to the drawing board and figure out why it flopped so hard. Like that game went from like the most played game on day 1 to like the least played game on day 2. Like nobody was touching it. So they're trying to figure that out and they want to add more stuff. And I can kind of I'm actually really surprised because it seemed like a pretty solid
I was gonna
core
say,
to the game. You know, like the gunplay is fun, the characters are fun. They even have little bits of lore and like this kind of relationship between the characters that was fun. Um, and the characters had variety. I really like that. I really like that you had like the teleporting squirrel, and then you had the giant dude with an axe, and then you had the sniper who could zip line. Like there's a lot of variety in there. I guess just the map and the gameplay was too boring. I mean I kind of felt that after a few games that some of it was
yeah,
pretty repetitive, especially shooting the animals. Like the animals needed to change. There needed to be different animals every game or something. I don't know what.
yeah.
I don't know. That part felt kind of boring because it was really easy to shoot the animals, and that's boring after a while. When
Maybe
you're doing
that's
that
what it
5 games in
was.
a row. Yeah,
Part of it anyway. There wasn't a lot of challenge for taking on the animals in the game. So,
yeah.
um, I mean, I enjoy the game. I actually had fun. Earl was my favorite character because his name was Earl, just Earl. He's just like a simple country. I called him a lizard, redneck lizard. I think the characters have potential to be something solid. Everybody will find their one to like for whatever reason, whether it's their abilities or except that axe guy. Screw that axe guy. I no.
Yeah, that guy was the worst. He was super overpowered. Do you think there was just too many games out? Do you
It
think
might have
that's
been.
part of it, that it's just too crowded? Like, Overwatch is huge, right?
Yeah.
In the world of I mean, Crucible's not exactly Overwatch, but it's a team-based shooter with classes and different characters to choose
Objectives.
from, right. Um, but there's plenty of other games. Wow. Okay, I should not have had the rum chata and fireball whiskey. Sorry. But there are a lot of games in this market right now. Like Valorant is very similar. And do you think it was just there's too many games and there's not enough tension for Crucible?
Well, I mean, it's about the same time Valorant came out. Valorant is going for that same kind
Yeah,
of
Valorant
feel.
forgot. Yeah.
But Valorant had the League of Legends developers behind Riot Games, so that gave them that notoriety, and I think they did a better job publicizing the release of their game. Whereas Crucible,
Yeah.
which Amazon, it doesn't make sense. I know Amazon did do some things like on Twitch and stuff because they own Twitch, but I don't feel like they really publicized it that much. If we want to look up Crucible, we had to dig for it. But Valorant, almost everywhere I went, it was in my face. So I think that was part of it.
Yeah, you think they would have leveraged Twitch more. I feel like they did a little bit of Twitch leveraging, but Amazon literally owns Twitch and Amazon owns Crucible. Like the moment you log into Twitch should have been a Crucible ad. When you
Yeah.
loaded up your favorite streamer, should have started with a Crucible ad. When you played your own game and then stream, should have popped up a Crucible ad. Like I don't understand. Like it's your platform. Like use it.
But like for example with Valorant, they got some of the big streamers to they did drops. In order to get into Valorant, you had to watch a famous streamer. But Crucible, did any big streamers get like a deal from Amazon to stream their game, or did I don't remember.
Like Crucible did do the same thing where you could watch a streamer and get drops. That's how I got to play it before all of you guys. I watched a streamer, but it wasn't a big streamer. They were very small streamers. It's like instead of one or two big streamers whom they would have had to pay, I think they tried to leverage like 100 little streamers, and I don't think that paid off for them as much as they thought it would.
But they would have if they did a better job of marketing it before it got to that point. Because actually, that would have been great for little streamers. Because any little streamer that got the game and streamed it could potentially grow the community. But if it wasn't marketed well before the release of the game for the like open beta, nobody cared. And the only reason why you cared is because we've been doing the podcast, so we're trying to keep up on stuff like that, so we were aware about it. I mean, even when we talked about Crucible and New World, we mentioned that we had no idea Amazon was even in the gaming business, and apparently they have been for a while. Granted, it was mostly mobile games, but it's just so it's kind of maybe people just. I really don't know. Maybe they didn't fully understand Crucible. I enjoyed it when I played. I would definitely play it again, but from what I understand is the player base is near non-existent right now. So if I got on, I heard we could wait hours for a match because there's nobody. So
honestly, even at its peak, I felt like the matchmaking took a while anyway. So having less players definitely doesn't help. So one of the things that this article that I'm looking at right now mentions is that this doesn't mean it's the end of the game, right?
No.
There's the one big example that they mentioned and that I can definitely think of off the top of my head is Final Fantasy 14, which was an online MMORPG. And when it first released, it was awful and people hated it. And they literally shut it down, went back to the drawing board, redesigned it. And the game they brought out was actually really fun. I even played it for a little while, and you know me, I don't have the attention span for MMORPGs, but I maxed out a character in that game because the release that came out afterwards was pretty fun. And I also think of like No Man's Sky when that first launched. It was No Man's Sky is more like Fable, where there was somebody spouting a lot of bull crap about how awesome it was going to be, and then they released it and it was poop. And then after release, they started releasing more and more updates and extra content that really made it really good. And so it's developed a life of its own, and now it's thriving too. I think Final Fantasy 14, despite its bad launch, is still thriving. It's still a successful MMO, still being played. So it's not the end of the world for Crucible. If there's Crucible fans out there listening, it's going to come back. I think maybe Amazon was a little too inexperienced. Maybe they got a little over their head with developing this. A lot of the game reviewers talked about a lack of focus and that the game feels like it's kind of a Frankenstein of esports. Like it's got all these different elements from all these different shooters put into one thing. So maybe they just need to trim some of that down and focus on the objective based gameplay and make it tight and make it fun. You know, I would say that the map was too big. At least for that,
The
what
4v4
the harvest of the hives or whatever that yeah, the
hive
4v4 one.
harvest, hive
Yeah, I think
harvest,
the
and
map
there's
was too big for that because you could literally spend 20 minutes before you even saw the enemy, you
but on
know?
the flip side, the bigger one, the 8v8 Harvest Command, was incredibly chaotic because you're just getting spammed with abilities left and right from all over the
Yeah,
place. And um, maybe, I mean, I'm not a skilled player, so maybe it's just because I'm not good at it, but it felt like
definitely
it
because you're
was,
not good at it.
yeah,
It's
yeah. But it felt more like if you had the best timing, like you watched a group fight and then you came in and cleaned up after everybody else duked it out for a while. That's what made you come out on top in fights. But I
yeah.
mean, even a smite like that, because your big thing is team fights. If we don't win the team fight, then it's useless, and it's whoever can capitalize on the moment better comes out on top, and it's all about timing and movement. So.
What are you doing? Yeah. Well, stop doing nothing. Oh my word. Okay, sorry. Probably
No, you're
killed your
right.
train of thought.
No, I didn't. I was just saying with Smite, there was at least coordination and like you work. If you had a
Right.
good team, it worked together. In Crucible, it actually just made me think of another point, but I'll get to it when I finish this thought because I'll lose it. Crucible, the team fights were just, oh look, there's a group of people fighting, and everybody just ran right in the middle.
Yeah. It
Um,
was like everybody for themselves, even though you were on a team. Yeah.
yeah. And then, but what I think another thing that hurt Crucible, I don't understand this complaint because I mean, I don't like team chat anyway. A lot of people complained that there was no voice chat in the game.
Mm.
Instead, they promoted their Discord server instead of actually having an in-game chat, which I guess if you're into competitive gaming and that's what you want to do to be able to coordinate with your team better, it's really hard to do that, especially if you meet up with random people. Like with us, we tend to only game with each other, so we're always in a Discord server anyway, and we hardly ever use the team chat. And like with Smite, they got the VVG whatever
VGS. Yeah. 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 The
VGS,
like commands that tell people
yeah,
where to go and stuff like that. Yeah.
the VGS,
Yeah.
and then you got
Yeah, I was gonna say Crucible's Discord was really robust. Like, I don't know if everybody went on that Discord, but it was really nice. Like, you could go on that Discord and you could like sign up for notifications in your own server about when they're
mm,
updating, and they had game voice channels for each game and like all kinds of stuff in that Discord. It's a really nice Discord server, and I think that they were trying to make that a part of the game. They wanted to bring people into that. Uh,
mm,
I just don't think that works. I think Discord is called Discord, like, it's Discord. There's a little bit of
mm.
chaos there, right? Just based on the name of it. And I think that's the way people like it. It was too organized, it was too neat, and I don't think I think that rubbed people the wrong way.
It could also have been too much too soon. The game didn't
Yeah.
build big enough for anybody to really care about the Discord. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm trying to think of any actually major complaints I had with the game. I mean, and maybe I'm just being overly generous, but I didn't really think I didn't. It definitely you had to rely on teamwork. If you have a bunch of random players, it makes the game. It's almost every game these days, but if you don't have a team that you work well with, it's almost pointless. And
That was my main problem with Crucible,
yeah,
was the first few times I played it, I was by myself, and it was just
yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough going into a new game where people don't know what they're doing, and then they're not paying attention to things like objectives, which people don't pay attention to during based gameplay anyway. It's frustrating.
Unless
So
you're on a team that's all you do is play that game.
right, yeah.
So
So
maybe that's another issue too. But I mean, again, Valorant was the same thing. Valorant is strictly objective based. You can't. I mean, you can win on kills alone, but it's highly discouraged.
yeah, I feel like Valorant's a little more kill based though. Like it's definitely
Yeah,
they're definitely trying to focus more on the skill shooting than they are on the planting the bombs and stuff like that.
that's true.
Um,
Planting the bomb ends
I
up.
feel like in Crucible, if you don't go for the objectives, like because they had multiple objectives, right? They had the harvester things that gave you H or XP. They had the obviously the hives that were what you scored to win, and then they have the animals, which could spawn and give you the orbs that you needed to level up and stuff like that. So it was a very objective based game. And if you weren't going for that stuff, you were screwed.
Maybe that's
Um,
it. Maybe it was too
yeah.
objective based because Overwatch is insanely objective based, but there was so much hype for that game long before it came out, and people end up getting into building lore for it. And honestly, I don't know what made Overwatch work because I guess Valor, or as far as objective versus kills, because in Overwatch you cannot win on kills. There's no way to win on kills. Crucible,
Right.
kills help you, but they don't help you a lot. So maybe that's why it didn't do as well, because it doesn't. Overwatch just found the right formula to make it work, but Crucible didn't. So people my kills don't matter, so it wasn't as fun to them. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe.
look at our friend Marvel. All he cares is about kill count or his KAD every game we play.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people do. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up to them, really. It's up to them to figure that out, figure out what was wrong, and then come back and solve it and release a better game. And hopefully they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I liked it. There were aspects of it I hope to see again. All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about
Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah. So
again.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to talk about here because it's not just Dr. Disrespect. Like
No.
this ban was so inconveniently timed because it came on the heels of Twitch's and streamers Me Too movement, basically.
Yeah.
A bunch of women and men actually came out and talked about the sexual harassment that they've suffered going to conventions and talking to streamers and dealing with the gaming community in general. And so there was a lot of streamers that lost their jobs, that got kicked out. Me personally, I talk about Smite a lot. Smite is a big game to me. The top streamer for Smite was permanently banned from the game, and I don't think he's tweeted since that day, and that was like a week ago. So I don't know what the deal is with that dude. But there were much bigger streamers than him that lost their jobs, lost their livelihood. And then at the tail end of all of this, as this was starting to fade, Dr. Disrespect gets banned just out of nowhere. No explanation from Twitch, no explanation from anybody. Even Dr. Disrespect tweeted that he doesn't know why it happened, and he's gone. And he was not only is he one of the biggest Twitch streamers, he's also like an OG streamer. Like he's from the era of Twitch where they dressed up. They did things like that. Like people now stream like you and me. We just put on a t-shirt, come home from work, and start streaming. But back then you had to if you want, you had to dress up like a pirate, or you had to dress up in a fancy wig and sunglasses like Dr. Disrespect and call yourself Dr. Disrespect and pretend you're badass even though you're not. And then you had to get all these people to follow you, and then you had to keep it up for years and years and years and years and years. And here he is getting banned out of the blue. What do you think? Why do you think he got banned?
I keep going back to, originally everybody kept saying it's about the new DCMA issues that Twitch is having, but that makes no sense at all because it happened, like you said, right at the heels of the Twitch Me Too movement kind of situation. So with that in mind, and knowing that Dr. Disrespect took a break from streaming for a while because he was unfaithful to his wife, I can only assume it has something to do with that. That's my guess. I mean, I
agree. I was just gonna say, I don't think it's the DCMA thing because that's been obvious to everybody. Like if somebody got banned or struck out because of the DCMA, like there were notifications, there were emails. And
Twitch said nothing about this.
Right. Yeah, this seems to be nothing out. When Twitch left a comment about Dr. Disrespect, it made no mention of why he was banned. If it was DCMAs, they wouldn't have had a problem saying it was DCMAs, right? Because that's just a legal consequence. Right? That's not a big deal. So they're obviously trying to cover up, or they're trying not to reveal why he was banned for whatever reason. So maybe it's like you said, it's some sort of sexual harassment thing, and out of respect for Dr. Disrespect, and maybe for legal reasons, they don't want to talk about it. Maybe that's gonna be something that they have to handle in private. That's definitely a possibility. There's also a really big rumor going around that Dr. Disrespect joined Ninja and Shroud after they left Mixer because Mixer's shutting down and they had nowhere to go and they didn't really want to go back to Twitch, that they're now forming a new streaming platform since they made millions off that Mixer deal that basically cost
Yeah.
them nothing. They decided to turn that around and invest in like a new platform or something, and Twitch learned about it and banned him because they don't want the competition. Um, that has not come to fruition. Originally, people thought it was the new platform called Brime, but that turns out to just be like a 14-year-old kid trying to make a streaming platform work, and he doesn't even have anything set up for it, so it's not really much of a platform at all. Uh, there's other rumors that it is a sexual harassment thing, and it was involving another Twitch streamer, and she was so big on the Twitch totem pole that she basically got him banned without revealing anything. Uh, I'm trying to think of all the rumors that I remember hearing or reading. The DCMA thing was floating around for a while, but there's definitely several people who said it wasn't DCMA. But there's no reason
See,
for it. And here we are
no.
like a week later, we still don't know anything. So I
It's
don't
got to be whatever it is. It's either the reason why they're not saying anything is to protect Twitch or Dr. Disrespect or both of them. I don't think it's really to protect Dr. Disrespect because, from what I understand, there hasn't been a whole lot of love between Twitch and him in the first place. He's always been kind of outspoken against Twitch, and
yeah, I feel like if it's Twitch doing this outright, they don't really care about his feelings,
no,
right? So there's definitely
no,
got to be something hurting them. And that's the other thing, like whatever the beef those two have, Dr. Disrespect brings them probably millions of
yeah,
dollars. So whatever reason they had to ban him had to
had to
have
be
been something
big.
that would have cost them millions more than that, right?
Hmm.
Does that make sense? So there's
Yeah, it
got to be
does.
something hitting Twitch's pocketbook.
Oh, then the other thing I just thought of it too is apparently he was getting really big. I don't know if this would be it, but this is another rumor people used is he was big on COVID conspiracy theories.
Yeah, he
And
did preach a lot of conspiracy theories.
but um it seems like an easy cop out, but some people argue it was like, well, that's just his character. He's supposed to be this evil overlord kind of guy. And I was like, no. From
Yeah.
what I heard, he was pretty adamant about what he thought about COVID and what was going on with it. So, and obviously, right now, COVID is not really a thing anybody wants to joke about, and talking ill of it and kind of dismissing what's happening to people. It's destroying people's lives either through health or through other means. So, not a whole lot of people take that too kindly. And I don't think that would be a reason why, personally, I don't think that's why Twitch would ban him outright without explanation. Maybe it was part of it, but I think there's, like JD said, there's something bigger that he did or knows or whatever that Twitch just doesn't. Because, I mean, they've been silent about this for a while. Most of the time, they come out pretty quick with their big streamers. They always say, well, it's an accident, or we gave them a 3-day ban, so they'll be back in 3 days because what they did was wrong, but we want to teach them a lesson, blah, blah, blah. But they just said, yeah, we banned them, and that was pretty much all they said. And
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah, I
they've
don't
been.
think go ahead.
I was just saying, and they've been refunding, from what I understand, all the subscribers their money back.
Yeah. That's right. They refunded all the subs, which tells me that it's pretty permanent. Like they're
Yeah,
not gonna do that if they think he might be coming back in 2 weeks, you know? But I was just gonna say, yeah, I don't think it's the conspiracy theory thing. I do know that he's been spouting those, and I've seen that he's said that stuff, and I think that's stupid, and I think he's a
yeah,
stupid person. But I never really followed his Twitch anyway, so
yeah.
I don't really care. But I just don't see how that hurts Twitch in a way that would cause them to ban him, unless the conspiracy theories involve some sort of hate or like
A
black
target
people caused
group.
COVID-19 or
Yeah.
something like that, like something ridiculous and hateful like that. That I could see them banning him for, but I don't think it was anything like that. Um,
Deserved or justified. It's really weird that they usually say something by now and they haven't said
right.
anything.
Yeah.
So
Which tells me that this is pretty serious to Twitch. Like
yeah,
they don't want to have anything to do with him or whatever he's up to. Uh, and I think, either something super, super serious, or in like a week, Dr. Disrespect is going to pop out of a cake and be like, haha, got you guys. I'm back. And then like everybody will just go back to normal. I don't know. Something like that. We'll see.
Or just don't care. Or maybe he really is working on with something with Shroud and Ninja. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Ninja has, I don't know about Shroud. Ninja's made no effort to come back to Twitch as far as I've seen, and he's definitely not going to Facebook Gaming. So,
Yeah. Yeah, if I were them, I'd just stop working.
30 mil?
That's just me.
Up,
yeah, I'll take
up
that
to
money
30 mil? Yeah. And that's not including everything he made off his streams and all the product placement deals and all that he had.
Yeah, that dude has way more money. Like, whatever money he made off that Mixer deal, he's got so much money. I remember when he first got famous, they were saying he was making like $2 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, I would not stream ever again.
And he's what,
like,
our age?
Hi, world. Yeah, you're younger than us. We're old. So anyway, all right. So that's Dr. Disrespect. The conspiracy theories are still running wild. We don't really have any solutions or any answers for you. We'll see what happens. Maybe next episode we'll talk more about what's going on in that crazy world. And that's it. Those are our topics for the day. Do you have anything you want to say for the outro?
Nope. Happy America's birthday. Tomorrow's the official birthday of America. So
why is tomorrow the official birthday?
That's when they actually signed the Declaration of Independence, was on the 2nd. They didn't announce it to the public till the 4th. That's why the 4th is the holiday.
Everybody hates you. Everybody does. They all tell me. They're like, ugh, that guy.
I also said that because it's also my mom's birthday.
Today's
tomorrow,
Canada Day. Let's celebrate Canada. Woo! Canada.
They got 2 hours left to Canada today.
Canada, my home and native land.
I'm surprised you know that much of it.
That's all I got because of Chiron and Smite. He sings it. That's all I got. Happy 4th of July.
Yeah, I mean, other than the serious note though, be safe, be smart this 4th. Everything's
4th of July, enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it. Maybe use it as a chance to blow off steam, but in a smart way, in a safe way. Be healthy.
Yeah, do some fireworks or something. Don't be crazy. If you're gonna get together, you're gonna do some big gatherings. Maybe do it outside where you're a lot less likely to spread COVID to everybody around you. That would be nice. Thank you very much.
That'd be great.
Yeah. But the 4th of July is the time for grilling outside anyway, right?
Yeah.
You got to do fireworks outside. Please don't do fireworks inside your home. That does not work out well for anybody.
No. I mean, most people should be out at a lake or something this weekend. So.
Yeah. All right. That's it for us. Remember to use hashtag NTWP. That is Not the Worst Podcast abbreviated into NTWP. You can also contact us on Twitter. I always leave our Twitter handles in the description. Use that. Send us, if you want to send us like gaming links, military news links. You want to just send us some artwork or a song you wrote. Like, we're using a free song that we got off the internet. So if you want to make a theme song for our show, do it. Send it to us. We'll use it. But that's the way to contact us and to talk more about the show. And other than that, I would say have fun. Enjoy 4th of July weekend.
That's that's a good summon. Oh, if you guys got ideas what you think happened to Dr. Disrespect, use hashtag NTWP. Maybe they give us something else to talk about next week. Maybe just in like the outro or intro, just to mention some of our favorite theories of why he's gone. So get creative if you want to. Like I saw somebody post on Twitter a picture of him. Why did Dr. Disrespect get banned? Wrong answers only. So do you want to do something like that? Knock yourself out.
Sure. Let's do it. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with episode 17. Keep this ball rolling. I'm JD. That's Anthony. And we are signing out.
And that's Maverick. Bye.